man, my goosebumps just subsided. I heard a squeaky swing sound outside my window. You know the sound. It's always in those scary movies when you see the rusty swing swinging back and forth on a dark, cold, rainy night. And you know that sound. You're hearing it right now. Well, I heard that out my window and I was like, freaked out immediately because I've been watching scary movies. I've been binging them since it's October. Well, I peek out the window and it's a blue jay making this sound. I saw his little beak making this squeaky swing noise. And I'm very familiar with like the normal blue jay call, but I've never heard them make that sound. So I don't have very many brushes, so this should be a quick video. The first brand of brushes that I have is the Ecotools brand. I have 6 of their brushes that I've accumulated through buying different sets of theirs. The first 2 are their Ultimate Pop and their Ultimate Cover brushes. These are very densely packed, round shaped brushes. The Ultimate Pop I usually use to apply foundation, although not often because I do usually use a sponge. The Ultimate Cover I do use for blending in concealer, so I get a precise conceal and it's great. And then the other 4 brushes are just eyeshadow brushes. I strictly use them for eyeshadow. Some are just more precise, some are more fluffy, and I just use them to blend out eyeshadow. 2 of them are dual-sided, which is an amazing feature. It makes for less brushes that I have to store, but also you get the little precise ends and then the fluffier ends. Overall, I think Ecotools has amazing quality brushes. You can't go wrong with any of them, at least from what I've tried, and they're reasonably priced at the drugstore. Okay, the next brand of brushes that I have are from E.l.f. I have 3 brushes from them. This brush is a contour brush. This brush is just called Ultimate Blend, and then this is one of their kabuki brushes with no stem. These are also great quality brushes, and they're even more inexpensive than Ecotools. Ecotools has the edge on quality, but you still can't go wrong. I have no complaints about the e.l.f. brushes. I love using this kabuki for blush application as well as powder sometimes. And then this brush can be used for so many things. You can blend foundation in with it. I've used it for bronzer and blush, so it's really versatile. And then this e.l.f. brush is probably the one I get least use out of at the moment. It's good for contouring, but I don't reach for it all the time. But when I'm looking for a really precise contour, it comes in handy. And then a really cool thing with these brushes is the white top that blend into like this ombre black color at the bottom. But you can tell when they're really dirty because it'll turn, you know, whatever color product you're usually using on it. And then when you go to wash them or clean them, you can tell when they're clean because the brush turns white again. So the coloring is very convenient when you're going to clean them. Not only does it look good, but it's functional as well. The next set of brushes I have are still e.l.f., but they were from like a influencer collab collection. It was from the Nabella Noor collection. I got these because they looked so pretty in the store, and I was still building my brush collection at that time. This set is probably slightly lower quality than the regular e.l.f. brushes that I have, but like I said, I was still building my collection, so I was still playing around with what I liked. This little one I usually use for highlighter, or if I'm out of my eyeshadow brushes because they're all dirty, I'll pick this one up. This one I'll also use for highlighter or blush. This one's great for stippling. If you need to stipple anything in, this one's awesome for that. This one has that great ombre effect with the white tip, so it's great when you're going to clean it. And then this brush I use for bronzer, blush, powder, whatever. The only thing is this brush sheds a ton, so I don't think it'll last too long. And then these brushes are made from 2 pieces. So I can definitely see them coming apart eventually. They're already getting a little bit loose, so I don't think they have the longevity or the lasting power, but for now, they're staying in my collection. Okay, and then the last 3 brushes I have are from Dollar General. One is a Believe Beauty brush, and then the other 2, I believe it's called Studio Collection is the brand, but they were very inexpensive at Dollar General. These 2 Studio Collection brushes are probably the poorest quality, but this angled eyeshadow brush I really wanted to be able to deepen up the outer corner, so I'll still get very good use out of it. It's just not as soft in quality as the others, but I don't have a shape like this, so it did round out my collection. And then this other brush just has a more precise end that I'll use for eyeshadow, and then a spoolie end, which I'm always in need of a clean spoolie, so this one will be put to good use. This pointed Believe Beauty brush is great for eyeshadow as well. I use it when I'm applying brightness to the corner or any precise detail. This one's amazing. I also sometimes grab it when I need a very precise concealer application. When I have a pinpoint blemish I just want to cover with a tiny amount of concealer and I don't want to have to blend it all away, this is perfect for that. Since I do consider my collection to be pretty minimal, it's worth noting that I use sponges to apply foundation. That's why I'm not in need of too many foundation brushes. And then if you're noticing that these are a little misshapen or chomped on, please excuse that. I had set these out before filming and my cat loves to play with these. These are her favorite toy. So when she sees an opportunity to grab them and run, she does. So those are the 16 brushes that I'm keeping in my collection. I probably could scale them down a little bit more, but for now, this is what I feel comfortable with keeping. I am decluttering 4 brushes. This Ecotools angled liner brush I'm decluttering because I have 2 dual-ended brushes that have the angled liner on the other side, so I don't need a single angled liner brush. So I'm going to pass this on. Whatever this is, it sounded like a good idea in the store, but it's so thin and weirdly shapen. I don't even know what I was thinking. So I'll see if, one of my friends want it. If not, I'll have to throw it away. But unfortunately, there's no point in me keeping this if I'm not going to use it. I'm decluttering this Ecotools angled foundation brush because I never use this type of brush to apply foundation. If anything, I'll use this, as I mentioned, this Ecotools brush to blend in foundation, but nothing like this, so I'll see if a friend wants it. This Ecotools Ultimate Buff Brush, I'm having such a hard time, but I'm going to have to declutter it. Given that I usually use a sponge and it's so large and hard to store, I'm gonna have to pass it on to a friend. It kills me, but I just know I don't need 3 of these guys. And together they're so big and bulky that they get hard to store. And my goal is to fit all my brushes in a little bag like this. I don't know if it's gonna work, even with the ones I've decluttered, with the 16 I have, but we'll test that out at the end. Even with decluttering this big guy, I don't think I'm gonna make it into this bag, but we'll see. So to these 4 brushes, goodbye. These 3, it's not hard to say goodbye to, but this one is a hard part. So, editing update, I contacted my friend and she said she would love to have those makeup brushes, so next time I see her I'm gonna pass them on to her, so they didn't even go to waste. Yay! I did want to mention that I clean my brushes once a week. I'll just fill my sink basin with some hot water, put some hand soap in there, and then throw all of the brushes and even my sponges in there, and I'll give them a good swirl, and then I'll rinse them, and then I'll do that one more time, and I'll call it a day. I know once a week is probably not often enough, but it's just what's sustainable for me. You know, when you go ham with an idea, you're like, I'm gonna work out twice a day, every day, and it all sounds good on paper, but then when you try to go apply it in your life, you just can't keep up with it. It's not sustainable for you. That's how I feel like if I ever try to commit to cleaning my brushes more often, then it's just overwhelming for me, and then I end up not cleaning them for a whole month. So I just stick with it. Usually one day on the weekend I'll clean them once a week, and then they're clean for me for the whole next week. And then in between, I'll just take like a wet rag and like color switch them and just kind of give them a quick clean that way. But other than that, the best I can do is give them that bath once a week. If you guys can do it more often, power to you, but... Do you guys hear the squeaky swing? Please tell me the mic is picking it up. I hope you guys can hear that, but there's a blue jay right outside making the little squeaky swing noise. Okay, so moment of truth. Let's see if these all fit in my bag. I'm already thinking I'm gonna fail because of this kabuki brush, but let's see. If this has to sit on my vanity, that's fine. I'm alternating the placement of the brush heads to maximize space in the bag. They fit, you guys. Look at that. They all fit in here. I'm also thinking this will fit maybe as well, so let's see. They all fit, even that big old kabuki brush. Look at that. It's in there. That's awesome. I know I couldn't have done that with this thing. So goodbye. Now I feel much better for decluttering these 4. I finally feel like I've curated a makeup brush collection that isn't wasteful, that I'll use all of the brushes that I have in it. So let me know, how many brushes do you guys have in your collection? Are my 16 brushes actually overkill, or is that pretty normal for people out there? But that's a wrap, you guys. All of those brushes were either drugstore or dollar store. I've never felt the need to go out and splurge on high-end brushes just because these are of such great quality and they get the job done. I never feel like I'm missing out. But let me know in the comments, do you guys feel like I'm missing out? Do you have high-end brushes that you're like, oh yeah, that's totally beating E.l.f. and Ecotools? Maybe I just don't feel like I'm missing out because I've never tried high-end, but like I said, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from all of you, and until next time, off I go.
And now off you go.
Oh. Of course you're hungry when I have to film. I'm hungry, Mommy.